yes. It's
Hey,
time. It's time. Unk and Fuel. I missed y'all. We missed y'all last week, man. Unk, how you doing? It's nephew in the building and Unk football. How you doing this morning, my man?
Unk, I man, football is just like cracking and ready to go, man. I missed last week and there was lots of fun stuff to talk about, but now we got even more. It's a wild
Mm.
looking week. Got lots of thoughts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It should be a fun week of football, man. So much going on in the league, man. And let's just get into it, man. Let's get into it, man. First and foremost, man, the title of our show, my man, Shedeur Sanders. My boy Shedeur, man. I'm so happy that he's finally getting the chance to play, man. Shedeur Sanders for the Cleveland Browns went from QB, I think he was 4 or 5 on the depth chart, my man, to
Number
finally
four.
getting a chance to be QB1 after unfortunately injury to Dylan Gabriels. The Cleveland Browns facing the Oakland not the Oakland, my bad. The Vegas Raiders. How you feel about this? By the way, people, smash that like button. Best way to support and help the stream. Support what we doing. How you feel about this move, my man?
Well, I guess if there's anything that was absolutely inevitable, it would be that Shedeur Sanders, the number four quarterback, would somehow be starting in Cleveland eventually at one point this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for the kid. Absolutely, I'm happy for the kid. He's interesting. It's kind of like him and Dylan Gabriel are like one rookie quarterback. Like
Right.
Dylan is like the floor you want, but he doesn't have the ceiling that I think Shedeur can give you.
Right.
But on the other hand, like Shedeur's floor is low, right? Like that whole game, like if you combine the two quarterbacks together, they were like
Right.
11 for 26 and 115 yards with like one pick, right? But Shedeur was like
Mhm.
4 for 16, right? Like that's bad. He was under attack.
Right.
And but he got 47 yards still, and he almost got a touchdown. Like that
Right.
one pass that he made that got broken up just in the end zone, like that was on
Yes.
target. That was
Yes,
on
it was.
target. That was going for six if it wasn't for the
Right.
cornerback, right? So,
Mhm.
like,
Right.
Shador can give you things. On the other hand, he's troubling. He's a bit undersized, goes backwards in the pocket a lot, doesn't have good tools to work with as a rookie. There is no
Mhm.
legitimate wide receiver one on that Cleveland team. They've got a couple of good tight ends and a great running back, but their
Mhm.
offensive line is not sufficient to let them work altogether. And so, but anyways, yes. So Shadur's up against it, but this is the upside to all of this, right? Last week when he got thrown in, like seriously, the NFL is very wonky about how quarterbacks get reps.
Right.
And all season long, like he hasn't had significant reps since the summertime because the NFL is very target oriented. Once it gets going, like nobody's thinking long term. It's always what's in front of us. And there are only
Right.
so many reps to go around. Why would you give the reps to anyone except the guy who's going to start? Right?
Right.
Because
Right.
I heard it put best this week, right? I think it was like the Indianapolis Colts offensive coordinator or quarterbacks coach or head coach. I can't remember who said it exactly. Tom Moore, I think his name was. And he was talking about Peyton Manning getting all the reps. And someone asked him why, like, why wouldn't you give your backup reps? And he's like, well, the backups, that scenario is bad. We're losing. The guy's injured. It's a bad scenario. We don't practice bad scenarios, the man said. So
Mm.
they're very micro targeted week to week to week. So Shador, the whole point of what I'm getting at here is that Shador has not had a lot of reps, and he certainly
Yeah.
has not had reps put in there to match his skill set. So
Right.
today we finally get to see Shedeur Sanders as the featured starting quarterback. He's had a week to prepare. All the coaches are resigned to the fact that he's their guy this week. You know,
Mhm.
Stefanski, then, like, they don't really like him. They don't really want
No,
him
they
in
don't.
there.
Stefanski,
They,
especially. Stefanski didn't want to start him at all. At all.
right? Like, you
Dylan
get the
Gabriel's his
feeling,
guy, and he didn't even want to draft him. Yeah.
like, you get the feeling that his drafting, his being drafted was a regime pick rather than a Stefanski pick. Like, it came from on high. So
Mhm.
nobody wants to be here except Shedeur. But anyways, I give the man credit. He has eternal optimism and belief in himself, and this is
Right.
his opportunity to show it today. And who knows? Because he's
No.
not going to be the starter in Cleveland if Stefanski has anything to do about it. Chances are they draft another QB this year. And,
Right.
Shador's not going to happen in Cleveland, right? Even as like a designated backup, probably not going to happen in Cleveland. So, where does he go, right? What other team would be interested in Shedeur, right? Well, today might
Mhm.
be a fantastic audition for that Las Vegas franchise, you know,
Hey.
for whom there were
Hey.
rumors about Shedeur like playing, and Shedeur kind of like face palmed them, like, "Oh, I don't want to play for them." Like, okay, let's ask him again now how he feels. And
Right.
yeah,
Right.
so I'm hoping for the best for Shedeur today. I'm expecting it. I think that he might do well, just somehow or other. He's a Sanders, right? And it's the
Right.
narrative we wanted to believe, and I think it's coming on stage today, buddy.
I think it's a great stage, man, and I know he's not going to be playing for Cleveland long, because Cleveland is where quarterbacks go to die, bro. They cannot
Right?
develop quarterbacks. Every single you see Joe Flacco right after he left Cleveland, he's looking like an MVP candidate. You know what I mean?
Oh,
People, Baker Mayfield left Cleveland, looked amazing. Well, not at first. It took some time, but he developed into a great quarterback. I
now
want
hold on a
Shador to
second.
ball out. I'm a fan of Shador, and I hope that he does his thing. But you're right, man. He is a bit undersized. He does hold the ball on for too long. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? But think about it like this: he's playing with a horrible offense, my man.
yeah,
A
yeah.
horrible offense,
Bad
but he's
offense.
starting on the back foot, man. So I'll give it like this: I'm gonna be watching the game, and we're gonna see what happens because, bruh, that he's playing, at least he's lucky. He's playing the Raiders, so he's
Yep,
probably gonna have
that's right.
a pretty good game. Just to
That's
be
right.
100% honest, man, the Raiders are
Yep.
one of the worst teams in the entire league, bro. Yes, sir.
Raiders have problems. And let me correct you
Mhm.
ever so gently about
Yeah,
Cleveland.
of course. Mm.
They absolutely develop quarterbacks, a whole bunch of them, over 40 of them.
Oh,
It's just they don't develop them properly or well.
preach. Preach. They do. Yep. They do not develop them well, man. So, he is rehearsing for the entire league. This is a chance to put up his resume and say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna show y'all as a
Mm-hmm.
future NFL
That
quarterback.
is that
So
was my point precisely, and he will today. I'm sure of it. I'm pretty sure. Like for
absolutely.
him to get that starting job, he would have to
Mhm.
blow up today and then win again next week, and you know what I mean,
Right.
like really go on a run. He would have to close out the
Right.
season and close it,
Right.
with like 5 wins, 6 wins. I don't see that happening.
Man.
But anyways,
Yeah.
or even 4 or 5. But anyways, I don't really see that happening. But who knows? It could. It's what makes the NFL fun. It's why we watch it every season.
That's why we watch the games, man. Let's find out what happens. But one thing I do know that happened, the Buffalo Bills got, it wasn't a crushing. They
No.
didn't fully snap him. It was a close game, especially near the end. They had a chance to score, but man,
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen Josh Allen get that abused. 8 sacks. The O line was getting decimated. I did not know Houston's defense was this great. You're talking about the
I
five and
told
five
you.
Houston Texans, led by not CJ Stroud, Davis Mills, out of nowhere, man, looking like he looks like the Houston starter. He looks like he should get starting reps. Oh my God, man. Unc, tell me how you felt about the Houston Texans putting the smackdown, bro, on the Buffalo Bills, my man.
Well, I'm actually
Mm.
shocked that their defense and special teams only got 15 plus points in fantasy. Um,
Straight
right
up.
now, it's funny. I chickened out on playing them this week because I've got
Oh,
Detroit and I've got Houston. And I'm like,
Right.
Houston on the road against Buffalo, thinking of what Buffalo did the week before, like what Josh Allen did the week before.
Oh,
I said, yeah, let me go with Detroit, like against Jameis Winston, Well, and watch me pay the price for that. Watch Jameis Winston score 35 points today, in a loss, right? Um,
man.
and my
Mm.
Detroit Lions defense special teams unit's going to get like -6 points. But
Oh
well,
no.
probably not, because they'll probably get 3 picks on Winston, right? But we're getting into a whole other
Yeah.
conversation here. But anyways, I
Mm.
should have played Houston is what I'm getting at. Should have
Mm.
trusted Houston, right? Because, the words we've used all year long to describe them: relentless, never say die. That was on
Mm.
display here, right? And those words are
Oh,
starting to be picked up and used by the national media. They're being
mm.
used by Houston to describe themselves: relentless. I read that word at least three different times in covering this.
Yes,
But
sir.
yeah, man, like the details on that performance, like that was what, with 8 turnovers, like multiple sacks. I think it was eight
Right.
sacks, and they actually hit
Exactly.
Allen a total of 12 times, right?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, man, like that was a clinic by Houston's defense. It was scary to see what they could do to a team like Buffalo. To
Mm.
Buffalo's credit, they almost came back and did it, right? Because they are a dangerous
Yes.
team. And this is what
Mm.
I'll describe Houston as. It's very unlikely to have to hear the words "a bend but don't break" defense when you're talking about a team that got like 8 sacks and freaking, what, 3 interceptions and a forced fumble.
Mm.
Like, it doesn't make sense, but that's exactly what happened, right down to the last minute of play, final
Mm.
seconds, down to the 9-yard line,
Yes,
and
sir.
one more interception, like, to seal the game. And
Mm.
so there was plenty of bending by Houston, but
Mm.
one of their linebackers described it best, right? And this is the
Mm.
attitude of Houston. When Shakir got that, what was it, 44-yard reception to bring them down to the 9-yard line,
Yes, on fourth down, that was a
right?
crazy play. They had
The
like it
Houston guy,
wasn't a flea flicker, it was like a hook and go, something like that. It was
yeah.
crazy.
Well, the Houston
Yeah.
guy, you know how the Houston guy described it?
Mm.
They got one on us. One. They got
Mm.
one on us. But
Yeah,
the
man.
underlying implication of that is no big deal. We still got
Yes.
this, and they did.
It was balls of steel, man, because it looked like a
Yeah,
Buffalo comeback was on its way, and then boom, they shut it down with that interception on Josh Allen to close out the game. That
Josh
defense, man,
Allen.
it can play in the playoffs, man. I would be
Let's
scared to let that
let's
team in the playoffs. I'll be sure. You know what
let's
I mean?
this let this be said about Josh Allen going up against that defense. We've
Oof.
talked about him and turnovers, but I'm going to give him a mulligan on this one because that defense was intense. And the reason I'm going to give him a mulligan on this is that they
Mm.
had him wrapped up, 2 guys punching at the ball, ripping at him, and he got sacked. He fumbled his body down to the ground, but he held onto the ball, right? And
So
even the
true.
ground impacted the ball. That, I don't know how he held on to it, but he did. So Josh Allen, despite having a horrendous afternoon at the office, was
Mm.
still a game performer against probably the most torrid defense he'll see all season.
Absolutely, man. And there's a chance that the Houston Texans could sneak into the playoffs on the back end.
They
Depends on
sure
what
could.
happens on these next few weeks, these next few things that happen. And one of the things that could let them in is if this team, I'm talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, keeps losing, brother. Because now the Chiefs are
Or
5-5. And I'm telling
they
you,
might
they are
squeeze
one
out Buffalo. Are you kidding me? They might
Buffalo.
squeeze out
Yeah,
that team they just beat.
you're correct. If the standings goes right, Buffalo and Kansas City could both be out. Houston takes their spot. That would be pandemonium.
Because
Imagine
look,
Mahomes and Josh Allen sitting at home watching
because
CJ Stroud or Davis Mills
Because
up
look who
there
else is
in
coming.
the
Look
playoffs.
who else is
That's it.
coming. That AFC
Mhm.
South isn't a joke this year. The
No, it's not.
Jaguars are fit. If the Jaguars pull off a win today, right? Like, all of a
Ooh,
sudden, you've got
ooh.
3 7-win or more teams in that division.
Oh my God, that's crazy, man. Because the South was not looking too good a few seasons ago, and now they're looking dominant.
And
Kind of like,
Jacksonville beat KC.
yes, they did, and that would beat them if there was a tiebreaker. You know what I
Right?
mean? At the end of the season, if they had the same record, and hey, the Broncos, the 9-2 Denver Broncos, one of the best teams in the league. They I'm telling you, they dominated this game, man. I'm talking, especially at the end. Something about Bo Nix in fourth quarters, bro. He just turns it up. I don't know what it is, what's been going on. He can play dirt garbage all game, but in the fourth quarter, turn it up. This is something that we haven't seen really ever, where the Chiefs are losing one score games. Losing them,
Well,
they never used to happen.
yes.
22-19 Denver. What a game. What a fourth quarter,
Yeah.
bro.
Let's give Sean Payton some credit for clock management in the fourth quarter. This is two,
Yes,
3 games
sir.
now. He's
Yes,
beaten
sir.
good teams by
Yes,
managing
sir.
that last, 45 seconds or a minute, getting the
Mm,
necessary first downs, and then just like squeezing the clock down to 3 seconds, field goal,
mm.
punch the clock
Bye
and
bye.
bye.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right?
sir. How did you feel
Yeah.
about that game, my man? The Chiefs are looking outside of the playoffs. They have to go on a run to make it in, bro. How do you feel about that Chiefs? Not a disaster, but they just don't look like the same Chiefs, my man.
Well, yes, they're not getting those final end of game scripts coming in their way. So
Right,
yes, and they have been struggling on defense where they have not in the past. Spagnola still has a very potent defense, but it's
right.
not locking people down in the way that it has in the past. And on top of that, Mahomes, despite his superhero efforts, is still having trouble getting that receivers room really functioning at a high level. And their running game is just weak. So
Mm.
yes, the Chiefs have considerable issues and problems, and like they've got another one coming up today. We'll discuss it on the lines and spreads, but like they're in the crosshairs again today, right? And if they don't win, we have to
Oof.
start talking about other teams.
Absolutely, man. And how I look at it is this team, I'm talking about the Broncos, have impressed me so much. They started off with a two-game losing streak, my man. I
Yep.
think they lost two games to start the season, and they didn't look back since, man. They've been on a run.
Um,
Now, do they win beautiful? No, they win ugly, bro. They
yeah.
win a lot of ugly games. They come back a lot, but that shows me that they're growing into something, man. I'm up on these Denver Broncos, my man. Mhm.
Well, let me tell you, I got a couple notes for you on
What?
the Broncos because they have not lost by very much at all ever.
Mm.
Um, and the way I look at it is like I think they've lost 2 games by a total of 4 points.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Indy beat them in I think week 2 in like a 29-28 kind of game. Broncos on
Mhm.
the road, right? Like Peyton couldn't pull that one out. But again, right, you see, like they're still there. And then they lost by 3 points somewhere else. I forget to whom. I think it was to can't remember off the top, but I got
Right.
anyways, right? Like
Mm.
Broncos are a serious unit. 2 games, 4 points. That's it. That's the totality of their season. That's how close they are to undefeated.
Right. I'm telling you, man, this team is gonna go far, especially with that defense, man. We're seeing a lot of great defenses make plays in order to win, and they lost to the Chargers by a field goal. It was at
Is
23-20, so it was a close game.
right. Chargers,
Literal
right
field
division
goals type
rival.
of
There you
game.
go. Is
Yes,
Sertan
sir.
the seg? Is Sertan Jr. still out
Oh my God, think about it like this: they don't even have their best defensive player in, and they're
and they're
still
still
winning.
rocking it?
I think Sertain is out. He's still out, but he's gonna
Still
come
out,
back
yeah.
soon in time for the playoffs. So that's a scary team, man. And
Right. So they
the
might get
scariest
better,
team. Pardon me, what'd you say?
and they might get better.
And they might. That's the craziest part. They might get better, bro. Insane, man. But I tell
Hmm.
you, the scariest team, I think, man. And we're gonna talk about it a little bit on our top fives. This LA Rams team, man. The LA Rams beat the Seattle Seahawks in a great
Wow,
game where Sam
epic
Darnold
game.
threw 4 picks and still had a chance. to come back and win the game in a
Yeah,
game-winning
dude.
drive. My God, Unc, what did you think of that crazy game?
Well, it was a crazy game. Yeah,
Mhm.
and that was, the difference, right? That was the difference. Is the LA defense was the difference, and not just the defense, but their special teams, right? They played
Yes,
the
sir.
field position game. They had at least 4 kickoffs that went for like 24 yards or more. Um,
Right.
so like very significant things that way. They had multiple stops. They
Mhm.
forced field goals instead of touchdowns. That was like the big key, right? I heard the phrase used in that game, right? If you play for field goals, like if you don't play for touchdowns, you're going to eventually
Mm.
end up losing, and that is what happened. Um,
So
and so yeah, that was a really significant game. LA managed to stop Kenny Walker III and Charbonnet. That was a big part of it right there. So that
huge.
forced Darnold and the Seahawks to go to the air a lot. So Darnold ended up throwing 44 passes, completing 29 of them. They kept JSN to just 105 yards, like
Just
that's
100, which that
it's
shows you how
usually
crazy he is. If you hold him to 105, that's holding him, which is
and
insane
no
to think about, bro.
touchdowns and no
Yes.
touchdowns.
No touchdowns. Yes, that's crazy,
Right.
bro.
The only touchdown they
Right.
got was Kenny Walker the third, I guess, jammed one in at the goal line, or maybe I forget the play because it was insignificant, right? Like he did not
It didn't
dominate at
matter.
all. They kept
Yes.
him to under 70 yards, I believe, and Charbonnet was ineffective. So
Right.
there you go. Like it's surgical. Lock down the running game, force them to the air, force their quarterback to make mistakes, and meanwhile you trot out old Mr. Stafford.
Yes, sir.
Old man River himself, right? Um, and who throws 0 picks.
Zero picks,
I
yes.
think he threw like for one touchdown or 2 touchdowns, but he was like very inefficient. 15 for 28, right? Like that's not
He
really
was
great.
kind of quiet as kept. He was a bit shut down because the Seahawks defense actually held him
They
in
know
check
how to play
slightly. They
defense.
did.
That's right.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Yes, they
And
do.
but he did get 2 touchdowns, right? So he
Yeah.
did what he needed to do and completed the task, right? And they got out of there with a very important win. Um, on the road, no, they were at
Yeah.
home in LA, right?
They were in LA. Yep, I believe it was
Yeah.
in LA.
So
Mhm.
they defended their home. Just a
Yeah.
what was it, 2 point win? They didn't cover. Seattle covered once again. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, because remember what we were gonna say last week, where we were gonna have a discussion between those two teams, and we said,
Mhm.
well, we're gonna find out today which one is for real and which one's the pretender. We're gonna find out which team's gonna blink, and Seattle blinked, right? So
Yes, I did.
yeah, great
That
game though. If you love defense, this was a
mm.
great game. Both defenses just going at it, hammer and tong.
And I'm telling you something, man. I didn't really, even with a loss, the Seahawks still look pretty good in the loss, man. Your
Yep.
quarterback turns the ball over 4 times. You're still in the game. That
Yeah.
shows me a lot. That shows me that team is well built. Hey, man, they're gonna meet each other in the playoffs, man. These two teams, the Seahawks and the Rams,
Well,
are
and I
very
think
good football teams, man.
I'm pretty
Very good.
sure LA has to go up to Seattle still,
Oh yeah, they match up again. They match up again real soon, I think.
right?
Yes,
So
I'm
and
assuming.
plus a playoff tilt, like these are all playoff
Oh,
tilts. It feels like right now.
that's what week 12 is about. Week 11, 12, we're on the home stretch, man. And a team that I really didn't expect to really snap like that is the Chicago Bears, man. Beating the Vikings 19-17 with
Yeah,
another fourth quarter by well, they didn't really go that hard in this fourth quarter, but it was still a fantastic, well-managed game
very
by
entertaining
Caleb
games.
Williams. Pretty entertaining. And man, they got JJ McCarthy, 2 interceptions, forced him to make mistakes.
Mhm.
And the Chicago Bears, quiet as kept, they are number 1 in their division.
Yeah,
Who would have thought, bro? Not me, man. Not me.
no,
What do you think of the
not
Chicago Bears?
not with Detroit in that same division.
No,
You would never have
not at
imagined
all.
it, right? And they got a
Hmm.
full
Hmm.
game on Detroit. It's interesting. Well,
Right,
yes. So yeah, hats off to Chicago and Caleb and getting their offense starting to click on all cylinders and a defense that
right,
functions. So yeah, that's a recipe for winning football games in the NFL.
right.
What I did to because you asked the question, could they win the division? That's another question.
Mm,
That is a different
that's a big
question than
question.
is Chicago doing
Detroit,
well right now?
right?
So I broke it down because, as usual, the NFC North is a bit of a black and
Mm,
blue division itself, kind of like the AFC North is, right? Every year, three core teams always go at it. Chicago's usually the one left on on the
on
outside
the
looking in,
outside,
but this
yeah,
year it's surprisingly Minnesota with that Flores defense. I'm really kind of shocked, but I guess it's the quarterback play that's been suspect.
yeah, yeah.
Anyways, well, the way
Mm,
I look at it is, well, yes, the Bears have the Steelers at home today. Then they
right.
go to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. Then they go to Green Bay to play the Packers. Then they've got the Browns at home. Then the Packers at home. Then they go to San Francisco to play the 49ers. And then they've
Mm,
got the Lions at home.
right,
So no real easy ones in there. And
right.
spoiler alert, I'm going to go say that I think the Steelers, because I'm a homer and a Steelers fan, I think the Steelers, manage Caleb today. I think, they're going to blow him up in the
Mm,
backfield the way their pass rush has been functioning of late. And I think they're going to run on him too. And when that doesn't work, they're going to stuff that tight end Darnell Washington down their throat, blow
oh,
up
the
everything.
300 pounder, the 300 pounder.
The middle linebacker playing tight end.
Straight
Anyway,
up,
so I think they lose that game there. And then it's like Eagles, Packers, and then even the easy team, the Browns, right? Like that's not going to be an easy day at the office for Caleb, right? Just himself
right.
personally in that offense, right? They'll probably
Mm,
overcome it. But then
right.
Packers at home, 49ers and Lions. So if
Mm,
Chicago is to win this division, they're going to have to do it by beating the teams in their division. And of course,
straight
that goes for everybody. Green Bay's got it especially rough, right? And they got that weird, stupid tie in there as well. But they got the
Mm,
Vikings at home today. Then they're at Detroit. Then they got the Bears at home. So there's three division games in a row. Then they go to the Broncos. And then they have
mm,
another division with the Bears coming to Green Bay. And then they've got the Ravens. You got the Ravens at home.
ooh,
No, well, like the Ravens are on the road, but they got the Ravens, and that's not going to be
right,
fun, right?
right,
And then they're at the Vikings. So no real easy outs in that lineup, right? And
right.
so now you've got Detroit. Detroit's at 6-4 in third of all places in that
Third,
division.
right.
Not a position you expected to think. So
No.
they've got the Giants at home today. So
Mm,
probably a solid win there. And then they've got Green Bay. They've got three home games in a row going up to Thanksgiving.
oh,
Right? They've got the Giants at home today. Then they got Green Bay at home next week, and then they got Dallas on the short week of Thanksgiving. Right? So comfortable
mm,
at home in Detroit, right?
right, right.
For three very gettable games, right? So they may get the leg up and even up with the Bears before they even run into each other again. But then they go to LA Rams, right? That'll be a
Mm,
challenging game.
right.
And then they got Detroit has the Steelers at home. They'll probably win that game.
Mm,
They'll probably win
right.
that game. And then they're at Minnesota and at Chicago, which, if they're on a roll, man, like they're
Mm,
probably going to roll up on both of those teams too if they're playing Detroit ball at its best.
right.
So I think Detroit still comes out on top of all of that.
Okay, okay, that's a hot take, man. Well, not really a hot take because everybody was looking at Detroit to win the division in general. But I think it might be closer than we think. Meaning, though, that last game,
Yep.
Detroit versus Chicago, I think it might decide the
At
division.
Chicago. And
Chicago, yeah,
it's gonna
yeah,
be
Chicago versus
cold.
Detroit.
It's gonna be
Right,
cold in that historic Chicago stadium. It's gonna be
right.
all the tradition. It's gonna be awesome. Hopefully, if Chicago does their part, Detroit does their part, keeps it up, keeps the winning going. But yeah,
Mm,
my guess is that it might take until that long, but my guess is that Chicago rises above and Green Bay fades away, and it's the Bears and
mm.
Detroit figuring out who's gonna win that conference. And they're both looking good for wild cards either way.
Yes, man, they're both looking good for wild cards. It's gonna be fun to watch, man. I'm just so surprised that Chicago, a team that really I didn't have high expectations with Ben Johnson leading them, man.
Yep.
making great football plays, looking really good, and kind of
And who's
funny,
really
an
surprised
interesting
though,
narrative, an interesting narrative. Ben Johnson doing better than Dan Campbell so far this season. Ooh,
right? Well, and it's
interesting narrative. You know what I mean?
it is an interesting narrative, but I think,
Mhm.
like I say, I think everybody will get what they want at the end of the season, right? Like McDonald or
Sure.
Johnson will have been successful, and Campbell will probably best him. but
Oh, yeah.
but but
Mm,
who's surprised though? Like he's a very competent
okay.
offensive coordinator, now head coach, and we're seeing. We talked about it 2 weeks ago that we're seeing some of the same types of functionalities,
Right.
commonalities in those offenses, right? Like we were talking about the emergence of the reemergence of DeAndre Swift all of a sudden,
Yes, sir.
not quite looking like Jameer Gibbs, but sort of, right? And
Right.
and the emergence of Odunze,
Mhm.
and Caleb being a better quarterback under control, whether that's a byproduct of being in his sophomore year or whether that's a product of Johnson. Who's to say, right? Let it all shake out
Right.
first. But in the meantime, it's the hot take, if you ask me, is that Detroit's in third, deep in
Yes.
November, a week before Thanksgiving, right? Like, or 2 weeks before
Who would have
Thanksgiving.
thought? Who would have thought, man? And I'm telling you right now, some teams just make things happen, man. And it's actually leans to what we were talking about Detroit earlier. The Eagles somehow beat Detroit, man. And this man is still upset. The 8-2 Eagle. This man is still talking smack or trying to avoid talking smack. What is going on with the Eagles? Offense that doesn't do anything, defense that saves their tail. And this team, 8-2, one of the top teams statistically in the league, man. What is going on, man? The Eagles are still soaring with a lot of drama on their back, bro. Craziness, man. Yeah.
And what a disappointment that game was, man. Everybody
Yes, it
thought that
was.
thing was going to be like the over under on that thing was like 51 points, right? everybody
Right.
thought it everybody thought it was going to be a shootout, but why would anybody think that with the dysfunction on Philly's offense and with Philly's defense doing what it does on a regular basis? I mean, who's really shocked that it was just like 26 total points scored? But
Crazy. Yep.
but like
Mm,
it's interesting when I hear people talk about, oh, what's going on, wither Philly, what's going on with Philly, right? I kind of feel like it's like billionaire problems or rich people problems that we're talking about here, right?
right.
If you look overall, right, okay, yeah, they haven't won by a lot. Like on average, they've scored 3.5 points more per game than they allow against them, right? But they're
Right.
freaking a two-loss team. and one
Two
of the
losses,
losses
man.
one of the losses was a squeaker to the Broncos, and the other one was a freak off with a division rivalry for which they have subsequently atoned. Right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
they whooped the Giants just last week or the week
Whooped them
before.
so bad. Yep. Yep. So bad.
Okay,
Whooped and
so
smacked them.
right? And so there's AJ up there, right? Doing the mea culpas and all that. We can't keep relying on the defense. Like he's not saying anything that's wrong, right?
He's
And
not
the most
wrong, actually.
telling,
He's not wrong. Yeah.
and I think it's all a charade too, though, right? I think he's being
Right.
purposely irritating just to keep irritating the offense. And, they're just an irritable team, right? And
Right.
so, but you see what happened though? Notice the opening drive of that game last week after the
Mm.
comments, right? There was a
Right. Yeah.
completion to Brown, AJ,
Right.
right? He was like, and reasonably deep, right? 12, 13 yards, and he corralled it, he kept it. Boom,
Yes.
bing, bang, boom. All the tension broke. Everybody cheered for him in the stands, and everybody
Yeah.
stopped talking about anything except that game.
Right. It goes to show that even with his complaining, it might work to a certain degree. But the thing is, he's not wrong, though. Look at the Eagles' offense. It does not look the same.
Yep,
Saquon is having a down season. The O
yep.
line is getting hurt. I think Lane Johnson is out for the week or maybe a few weeks. The
He's been in
offense
and
does
out.
not look good. The offense does not look fluid. It doesn't look like they're going to put up a lot of points. But then their defense is saving their tail all the time. They shut down Robinson and Jameer Gibbs. They couldn't go. They shut down Jared Goff. Jared Goff couldn't go. They shut down the entire Detroit Lions offense and made them look bad. So
Yep.
here's the crazy part. Could Philly, looking broken as hell, make it as far as the Super Bowl or just pretty close? Who knows? Because guess what? They don't rely on their offense. They need maybe one touchdown and they'll be fine to win the game, which is it's different. It's not like they were
Hmm.
last season, but I don't know if this can be sustained, especially with AJ smack talking his quarterback all the
We
time.
we
Imagine
said
how
that
toxic
last
the
year,
locker
though.
room is, bro. Yeah.
We said that
Yep.
last year. Could
They were
Philly
pretty
sustain it,
yeah.
right? And they did. I'll tell you
Right.
this much. I'll tell you this much about their season so far. They have two losses, right? And those two losses happened in a 5-day period. The second loss was on a short week.
Right.
Um, you know what I mean? And in one of those games, again, we keep bringing up the Broncos and Sean Payton coaching his way to a last-second field goal win multiple times this year, and that they were a victim of that. But credit to the Broncos, they had stuffed them on a previous play, right, to get in position to do that.
Yes,
So
they
they
did.
basically had one, bad game and one weird NFC East game, right? Just creaked out of the
Yeah.
closet of NFC East football lore, right?
Right.
So, so with that, right, like the Lions win was a huge win for Philly. That was a statement game. Like
It
that was an
was.
important win. And look at the rest of their
Mhm.
schedule, man. Like the rest of their schedule is a
Oh.
cakewalk to the number one seed. So yes, I think they can go.
Right. They got Cowboys are playing today, Bears, Chargers, Raiders, Commanders, Bills, Commanders again. Wow, they could definitely win a lot of games.
Right?
This is
Right?
this is not hard at all. They could definitely get that number one seed. Wow, I didn't even think about that,
Yeah,
man.
dude. That's what I was saying, man. That's what I said to myself. Like for all their
Mm.
struggling and this is their scrappy play, they've got to get week 12. They got 9 wins, two barely losses, and I'm like, well, so what's the rest of the season look like? And I did that after going through the NFC North, right, and seeing
Right,
all
right,
that
right.
horrendous rivalry. I said, well, let's see
Yeah.
what Philly's looking at. And when I looked at the names that Philly's playing on the rest of the schedule after doing that exercise for the NFC North, I was like,
Mm.
yo, dude, Philly's looking fine.
Man, a lot of Raiders, a lot of Commanders, they're gonna get a lot of wins, man. It's gonna be fun to watch because seeing how the Philly Eagles, with all the dysfunction, might get themselves to another championship. Crazy to see, man. But what's crazier to see, my man, is how bad I'm doing in fantasy, brother. Fantasy starts and says, I need your advice, bro. It has been a rough season,
Dude,
especially people with injuries. Especially, oh my God, you have to
bye
get deep
weeks.
in the waiver wire, trades, bye weeks. Oh my God, Unc. Talk to us, man.
Dude,
Talk to the people, man.
you and I are both
Oh,
on a voyage of the damned in that fantasy league this year, man. That's just
so
been
bad, bro.
in crazy,
Oh,
right? Um,
brutal.
but I mean, did you
Mm,
see the latest trade that came up in there? That end zone
I did
Bachir
not.
guy, man, that guy just does not quit, man. He's already, remember I told you Josh Jacobs was creaky, right?
Yeah.
He's already trying to trade Josh Jacobs out for Ashton
Wow.
Genty. He's getting the guy's trading for Ashton Genty, and he's giving away like either getting Garrett, whatever. He's got this package deal where he's giving a guy on injured reserve
Wow.
and and giving away Jacobs or something like that. But the whole thing is like this other guy's getting Jacobs and Jacobs alone, and he's getting that receiver, and he's getting who
Mm.
the other running back, Ashton Genty. Basically, the trade is for Ashton Genty,
It's
straight
for
up with
Ashton
Jacobs.
Genty? What?
Yeah,
With that
yeah.
horrible O
So
line? What?
this guy's weaseled his way into getting Genty, basically getting rid of
Wow.
Jacobs, getting Genty, and getting Garrett off his IR.
Wow.
Because Garrett's
You
not
shake
coming
the law.
back. Garrett's not coming back. If he does, it'll be
So
week
Garrett is
16 or
done.
17. And if you're not in the playoffs, like
Oh.
it doesn't matter if you have him.
Right, right. Fair point. Fair
So
point. Garrett's out.
that's the type of league we're in, man. Like
Yeah.
I just don't even know where to begin. Like these guys are operators, man. Like I haven't felt this
Big time.
challenged in a fantasy league in
Yeah.
like literally like a decade, 2 decades, maybe
We have
since
a
a
good league,
long
bro. We
time.
have a very good league, my man. It's very
Mm,
strong, guys.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
doing better. I'm doing much better in a couple others.
Yeah, man. Me too. I'm actually doing good in one, but this one, oof. You know what I mean?
Woof, that's the word for it. Woof.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
But anyway, so fantasy football, buddy. I got you. I
Yes, sir.
got you. I got all kinds of tips for everybody today, man. As
Yeah,
you
man.
know, part of my process, part of my method, keys to success. It's a standard fantasy football axiom, and that's look out for games that are projected to have large points scores and all that type of stuff. Not point spreads, but a large total points, right?
Right.
So Giants at Detroit, they're calling for like 50 and a half. New England at Cincinnati. Oh, man, that's going to be, they're looking for like
Yeah.
50 and a half, 51 points there. Indy at KC, right? They're calling for
Oh,
49 and a half in that game. I myself am dubious. I have a feeling that that game's going to be like defensive, at least for the Chiefs, anyways.
okay. Okay.
And the Chiefs don't score a ton of points. So, like, if they if they put a spanking on Indy like Pittsburgh did last week, but still only score like 21 points, right? Like, there's not going to be a lot of fantasy production there. Anyways, let's see now. The other one that's looking good is Tampa Bay at LA Rams, 49 and a
Right.
half points, a Sunday night game, an island game. Another warning, though, because we thought the same
Mhm.
thing last week about Philly and Detroit, and it didn't
Yes, we
happen.
did.
And
Hmm.
we know LA knows how to play some defense, right?
Yes,
And they
sir.
only took 21 points to beat Seattle last week. Now here comes Tampa Bay, right? They probably have ideas that they're gonna, score 31 and somehow outpace them. It's not going to
Right.
happen.
Right.
I'm pretty sure LA takes care of that, and in so doing, may shut down the points explosion that some bettors are expecting is going to happen there. So just word of caution: don't not
Mhm.
start your starters. Like, you got to play them, right? Especially your LA guys, right? Puka,
Yes.
Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, like those three, and Stafford even. Those three, four guys, and your LAD. Don't be afraid.
Yes, sir.
Um, Now, another game looking for a lot of points, Carolina, San Francisco. That might surprise some people, but they're calling for 49 and a half as your over under on that one. But Carolina, we have seen Carolina manage to put up points.
Yes, they
Um,
do.
and San
Mhm.
Francisco too, right? Again, like they do have potent players. It's just how many of them are injured and not injured.
Yes.
San Francisco starting to get healthier on offense, so that's encouraging. The other one that I might be very interesting and high scoring is at Jacksonville on the road at Arizona. Right, we've seen some production
Oh,
lately out of
right.
Arizona, even if their
Right.
defense can't hold in. But like Arizona's better than advertised, and Jacksonville's playing well, and we've seen them win on the road this year. So that game might sneaky have some good points scored in it. Your ETN Bayshell Tootin combination, right? That Tootin
Right.
guy's coming along, right?
Yes,
Um,
it is.
so
Mhm.
yeah, so those are, and the other Philly Dallas, by the way, too. Probably start everybody. It's probably, I have a feeling that one's going
Everyone.
to be, we're going to break out of the mold and we're going to have a points explosion on that one.
Right.
Now, sort of, so taking a look at that, those are sort of your team. Denver, Miami, Chargers, and Commanders are all on a bye. But otherwise, those are
Mhm.
the teams you're looking at and the games you're looking at that might have a lot of fantasy production.
Right.
Individual players. I think if you're looking to either stream quarterbacks or you have an injury to fill in for, or a bye week to, like, say you got Bo Nix, right? I'd take
Right.
Jacoby Brissett. He's available in a lot of Yahoo leagues. Jacoby
Yes,
Brissett
sir.
has, look at the numbers Jacoby Brissett has put up since he came in, man.
Mhm.
21.7, 19.8, 24.9, 19.4, and 23.9 fantasy points in successive
Oh.
weeks. No single
Oh.
digit weeks off anywhere in there. So
Nice.
even if they're not burning the place down and winning games, they are covering spreads and they are producing in fantasy.
Mhm.
So that's something to consider. Other guys who have good looking starts possibly today: Mac Jones, Flacco at New England, Rodgers at Chicago. All of their defenses give up reasonable points. Jacksonville gives up the fifth amount of points to quarterbacks, right? um,
Oh.
right, and Chicago gives up the fourth, right? So maybe
Oh.
Rodgers might work out for you this week, right? The other
And
one too.
Rodgers has a history of destroying the Chicago Bears. If you look at his
Right. So
history, right?
right, exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
He probably has a lot of fun totems in his in his man cave from Chicago.
Mhm.
Now, Here's another one that nobody's probably thinking of, but perhaps they
Mm.
should, and that's Bryce Young in Carolina.
Yes.
Carolina is going up against San Francisco, which gives up the 10th most points to QBs. So they're a
Mm.
green light team. And Bryce Young recently put up 31, almost 32 fantasy points in that
Yes,
destruction
he
of
did.
Atlanta the other day, right?
Overtime. Yup. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and his best games this year, his only two like points explosions this year have been on the road. He seems to like getting out of town. Something to
Mm-hmm.
consider. I'm just saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other one I guess is also Mac Jones. Mac Jones, like I said, I think also has a good opportunity to score a lot of points in that fantasy production today, which brings us to running backs, right? Running backs, the eternal question. I think
Mm-hmm.
ETN and Tootin, like I said, are looking good today.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your update for you. Like I said, Josh Jacobs, his knee is it's literally a game time decision, but it's a 1 o'clock game start. So pay attention to that. And if you don't have
Right.
Emmanuel Wilson as your handcuff, as I've been advising my friends and fam all year long, um,
Right.
you're going to miss out, right? Because Emmanuel Wilson has produced 9, 10 points as a backup, been getting like double-digit carries 2 out of the 3 last weeks because of Jacobs' injury, and Jacobs may not go at all today. And I've seen the man run. The man can run. But he has a bad matchup, though, against Mini. The Flores defense is good. So
Right.
that's something to consider. Now, the other one to consider is the effect of Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson is
Yes.
returning to the New England lineup. And for some reason, they seem to want to ignore the body of work that Trayvon Henderson put up over the last, 2 or 3 games, like 5
Yeah.
touchdowns in 2 or 3 games, I think. He was putting up
Right.
110 total yards a game minimum, right, on average. So, yeah, pardon me, on average, but like 88 rush, 22 passing, receiving yards, right? So, like the guy's getting a passing touchdown, 4 rushing touchdowns. He's breaking out, right? Like going for like
Yes.
long
Straight up.
runs. Like Henderson's been awesome if you had him in fantasy. And they're
Yes.
going up against Cincinnati today, which gives up the number
Oh,
one most amount of fantasy points to running backs, right?
yes, they
So
do. Mm.
so yeah, so it makes me wonder in New England what they're doing like with Ramondre like that, but I guess he's earned it, right? So that's something to consider if you're a fantasy owner of either of those guys. So you might have to temper your expectations for Henderson again and Ramondre,
Right.
perhaps tick him up, or he might fumble again, re-injure his toe, and it's all Trey Henderson. So watch it, be careful.
Right. It's
Um,
risky. Risky move.
yeah, man. Zach
Mm.
Charbonnet is another possible plug and play kind of guy. Seattle's getting Tennessee today. Seattle catches a break after,
Right.
after getting LA. They get
Mm.
Tennessee today. So he might be viable, or it might be all Kenny Walker. You don't know. But Charbonnet is a good looking running back when he gets soft defense, especially. Rico
Right.
Dowdle is another must start. Chuba Hubbard has been faded. So Chuba Hubbard obviously is a sit.
Right.
Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Warren's a little injured, a little nicked up. So we've
Mm.
seen Gainwell get a lot of volume over Caleb in Pittsburgh when the opportunity comes. So if
Right.
Jalen Warren's sitting at all, there will be an uptick in Gainwell's carries, and we've seen him produce when he gets the opportunities. So something
Right.
to consider. Sits for running back, man. Jeez. I
Mm.
mean, some of these guys, you're going to start them anyways because they're your best option regardless, right? But I expect Brees
Right.
Hall in New York to have a rough afternoon. I
Right.
expect DeAndre Swift, Chase Brown to all have rough afternoons at the office. But Tony
Mm.
Pollard and Chuba Hubbard, you can sit them, right? They're
Right.
just not productive right now.
Right.
Right on. Sorry. Uh, am I
All
uh,
good.
am I going like too fast here? Something you
No,
need
no,
to
I'm
add or
good.
anything?
I'm good. Like for me personally, I'm telling you right now, we're looking at the running backs. They're not. There's not been a lot of production unless you have Jonathan Taylor, or unless you
Right.
have literally the number one running backs, James Cook. So you have to kind of stream, man. And a lot of injuries have happened. A lot of people are starting
Lot of
Ramondre. A
injuries.
lot of people pick these guys high. So you have to kind of stream and look at the matchups, man. Look who
That's
they're facing. Anybody playing the
yeah.
Bengals, you have to start them.
If you're
Anybody playing a team like Tennessee, you have to start them. Any team playing a weak defense, even Chicago, if you have
yeah,
Junkins, you have to play him. You have to start him because they're playing that horrible Raiders defense. I always go by the defenses. If I know the
Right.
defense is not good, you have to play them. Eagles, everybody starts on the Eagles because they're playing that horrible Cowboys
Right.
defense. And
Green light
always look at
matchups,
the
right?
matchup. Green light matchups. Those are the key for me. In terms of receivers, man, you have to also stream, but you have to look at the guys who are bringing you to the end of the season.
Yep.
JSN must start. Puka must start. Devontae Adams must start. T. Higgins, especially
Must.
because Chase is out with the suspension. I believe he has one game for spitting on
That's
him.
right.
I believe that is crazy. Yeah, that was crazy. So T. Higgins is gonna have a day. Plus, there's a chance. I don't know if it's fully confirmed that Joe Burrow might play at some point in the
Nah,
game. I don't know if they
not
said
happening.
no, not
Nope.
happening. Either
Think
way,
of the
no
logic of it.
factor.
Think of the
Right, go
logic
ahead.
of it, right? It's turf toe,
Right,
so it's a niggling injury. Like, why are you going to risk that asset for a season that's quickly unraveling? But you like, you know what I mean? Like, you got
right.
Flacco, just let it rip.
I,
Like,
I, I,
why
I
risk
think
injury,
I've heard,
further injury?
I've heard rumors, but we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, either way,
We
start
shall,
T.
we
Higgins.
shall.
T. Higgins is the guy.
I
Yeah,
definitely am not in any inside loop. So,
right.
but
Yeah,
for
man.
wide receiver, right? Like you said, Puka and Adams, absolute must starts today. The other
Mhm,
one I like today, who's been coming on
mhm.
recently and has ascended with the New England Patriots. We've talked
Right.
about Booty, right? But Stephon Diggs, the wily old veteran, is
Yes,
starting to do what
yes,
he
sir.
does, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and he has a fantastic, like,
Oh, he's
gold
been on
plated
fire.
matchup today
Yep.
against Cincinnati. Um,
Mhm.
the other one too, who's looking at a lot of volume, if not a lot of production, is Wandale Robinson in and for the New York
Mm,
Giants, right? Jameson likes to
yes.
air it out, and he's the only guy really getting double-digit targets every week in that offense, and he seems to be the only guy
Yeah.
really capable of handling them when they show up. So
Right.
if you're hurting because of a bye week fill-in, something like that, Wandale Robinson might help you out. Metcalf and Flowers also have good matchups today, so keep that in mind. I mentioned Butte. Um, Ricky Pearsall he
Oh,
came back
Pearsall.
last week and broke a lot of
Mm,
people's hearts. But the thing is, he played the whole game, ran all, most of the offense. So he looks to be back. So we
nice.
should be able to anticipate him returning to, sort of like he did in the first 5 games, 80 yards receptions, 10 targets and, possibly a touchdown, right? So Ricky
Right.
Pearsall owners, your time is nigh. Your waiting is, this is the week
It's
you should
finally
see
over.
production. And and Jennings, though, Jennings has been remarkably consistent in his production throughout this year. So I
Yes,
think
sir.
there's room for both of them in this matchup. It seems to be. Remember, we talked about it being a high scoring over underline on this. So the likelihood of there being a fair bit of production. But now you're looking at 4 assets, right? You got McCaffrey, Kittle,
Hey.
Pearsall, and Jennings, right? So and the quarterback. So, but they might if
Mhm.
it's any type of high scoring game.
Yes, sir.
Um, right. So, and the other one I really like, and I think is going to launch this week. We got hints of it last week, but that's
Mhm.
Jacoby Myers in Jacksonville. Especially if that game goes
Oh,
like I think it's going
yes.
to go. Like Jacoby
Right.
was clearly the number one receiver, but
Mhm.
last week I think he did cash in for a touchdown, but like we really saw it in that offensive explosion from Jacksonville last week. Jacoby Myers, I think, is good to go this week.
Nice,
Mark
nice.
Wilson in Arizona. Again, I'm anticipating some points in that game. I don't think it's going to be a depressing loser bowl, right? Where they trade field goals and stuff, right? Mark
Yeah.
Wilson has been doing very well. And depending on if Harrison Jr. is still out, is Harrison Jr. still out? Do you know?
I don't know for sure. I can check. I can search up
But
and let you know.
the guy who
Mhm.
showed up last
Mhm.
week who really benefited from it is a guy named Greg Dortch. And the beauty
Mhm.
of Dortch is that he also plays on special teams, right? So he's
Oh,
returning kicks. He's like heavily involved in the whole game, right? And
right.
he was getting a few targets, above average amount of targets last week. And I'm pretty sure he scored in double digits at least last week and was targeted in the
Oh,
red zone. Like Dortch is suddenly emerging as an active part of that offense with Harrison out. So something to pay
Harrison
attention
is out,
to.
by the way. They confirmed it a bit earlier. He's out. He's not
So
playing
there
today.
you go, right? So if you're looking to, if you've got a deep league, you got a spot to fill, you just need someone in a flex or a third wide receiver spot, consider Greg Dortch.
Mhm.
Tight end news: Sam Laporta's out for the season,
Yeah,
right?
he's done.
So
I saw that.
whoever the number one tight end is in Detroit, his name eludes me right now. I think they got a couple three candidates, but
Right.
there's a big there's a big hole in that offense fin to be filled, right? So
Yeah, man.
consider streaming that guy. The other guy who continues to perform well despite his team being a complete implosion is Johnson in New Orleans as a tight
Yeah,
end.
New
He
Orleans. Juwan
continues to
Johnson.
get like double-digit targets every week and manages to do something with them every now and again.
Yeah.
Um, Better looking ones are Fannin and Barner in Cleveland and Seattle, respectively. Really liked Barner last week because I believe they have another injury in Seattle's tight end, and Barner is now like the guy in there, and he's
Barner's
a big
really good.
wide body,
Yes, he's good.
rumble and stumbling guy.
Mhm.
I don't like Hawkinson or Taylor in for the New York Jets just because of the matchups.
Mhm.
Ertz is on a bye. Hunter Henry in New England will probably have a
Right.
day. Fingers
Yes, sir.
crossed. Um, and the one that we love to talk about, I saved the best to last, brother, is Darnell Washington in Pittsburgh because that just rocks. That man is like something like 285 pounds. He's big enough to be a
Crazy.
linebacker. He somehow manages to run like 4.55 or 4.6 for the 40.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And
Makes no
like
sense.
he was throwing tacklers down like rag dolls last week. Like his
Straight
stiff
up.
arm is hurtful. It does damage. And this man literally rumbles and stumbles his way to yards after the catch. And it's just a delight to watch for a homer like me watching my Steelers play. I'm just like loudly cheering for this man. And he has been fantasy relevant in 2 out of the last 3 weeks. In relative terms, as far as tight ends are concerned, he had I think 8 and 7, like 15 points I think in those 2 games, and like 4 or 5 in the other one, which is sort of like that's your floor. You don't want your tight end to have any less than 5. You want to be able to count on at
Right.
least 5. And Darnell Washington is starting to look like that kind of guy, right? So if you have a
Right.
hole to fill at tight end and you want to have fun watching them, start Darnell
Mhm.
Washington from Pittsburgh.
For me, I would say start Mark Andrews, by the way. They're facing the Jets. Jets defense is bad. And
Yep.
here's something interesting. Mason Taylor from the Jets. He is going to be very viable because Tyrod Taylor is the quarterback this week. They benched Justin Fields. So Mason Taylor at tight end, look out for him. He's literally the best passing pass catcher
Yes.
in New York for the Jets. So guys,
I
that's a
I
big
have
tight
him.
end, underrated guy to pick up. So guys, get him Mason Taylor. He's going to be a big impact in that game.
I have him as a sit because of the matchup simply,
Okay.
but nevertheless, you're right. Like who else is there, right?
There's
What's
nobody
his
else
name?
on the Jets.
Adonai Mitchell. Got
Adonai
11
Mitchell, he
targets
dropped a
last
lot of
week.
passes. He dropped a lot of passes. I don't know about
He had
Adonai Mitchell.
one catch out of 11 targets, which was
He's a
remarkable.
sit, bro.
Maybe
Yeah,
there was a
he's a sit.
reason he was the number 4 guy in that Indy receiver room, right? But the
Straight
thing is,
up.
he got the 11 targets, and Garrett Wilson's still out, so Adonai Mitchell is going to get targeted like that again. Hopefully, that was
Right.
just a glitch last week. But anyhow, he hauls like 8 of those in. It's going to be a good day, right? So
Right.
consider him again if you need a start.
Right. Defensive wise, for me, I think just look at the bad teams playing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Cleveland, you better start Cleveland. Start Seattle. They're playing Tennessee. Just look at
Oh
bad
my, yeah.
offenses and then start the defenses playing bad offenses. I'm gonna tell you a defense that's kind of surprising. The Chicago Bears. They get a lot of takeaways. So Chicago Bears is an
Hmm.
underrated defense that y'all can start in case your regular guys are out or there's a bye week. Let's say you have the Broncos. Look
Or a
at
week that they're
the
not playing the
Chicago.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh yes, well then I'll blame the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have to watch out for that. One team that I think you should definitely sit is the Indianapolis Colts defense. Why? Because I think the Chiefs are going to make this game interesting, meaning they're going to try to put on a lot of points. They're in desperation mode.
Steelers showed
They're
you how to
going to
do it
air
last
raid.
week.
There you go. There you go. The Colts, I'm telling you, you better bench that defense, man. I think it's going
Well,
to be
yeah,
a
like the
wild card
Steelers blew it up. They blew up their offense last week by getting in the backfield, right? So they
game.
basically gave you the template for beating Indianapolis. So anybody
Yeah.
capable of doing that now is going to do that. And now we're all just waiting for the Daniel Jones implosion.
Hey man, we saw the Sam Donald implosion, man. There's only one guy left.
Well, hold on now. He rose above. He was playing like the best
Yes,
defense
he
in the
did
league, just
actually.
about. And yeah, he had 4 picks and he didn't have any touchdowns, but he still completed 29 passes, right? I don't think Daniel
Right.
Jones completed 29
Oof.
passes last week.
Just hand the ball off to JT, man. He's literally their only hope, and he's playing fantastic. By the way,
Yeah.
fantasy starts and sits. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to win a lot of people the league. Just being honest, man. You get
Well,
Jonathan Taylor, he's probably going to ride you to the championship. He's fantastic.
it's the cycle, right? It's the cycle. Which
Yep.
guy is going to blow up this year and get close to 2,000 yards, right? Because they can't do it back to back, right? We see that
No,
with
they
Saquon
cannot.
Barkley. We saw it with
Right.
Jonathan Taylor after his 2,000-yard season. That was what, 2 years
Yes.
ago? Well, he's revving up
3 years
for
ago.
another one now, right? Like,
Yes, sir.
right?
Hey,
Because he's had a chance to heal from all those
yes,
touches
he
of the
did.
from the first 2,000-yard season. It took him 2 full seasons to get back now in the what is it? This is the 4th season since he ran for 2,000, I think.
Yes,
So,
yes. It's like he had some
but
nagging injuries for a bit. So I'm telling you
because
right
it
now,
takes
man.
it takes a
Sometimes when you
toll
have a
on you to
guy,
run like
you'll
that,
hit.
man.
Yes, it does.
300 plus carries is like in today's NFL, that's rugged on your body, right? So it
Yes.
sometimes takes, but when you're on a roll like that and you're having a season like that, they just keep feeding you and feeding you and feeding you, just like that Wu-Tang
Oh
song,
yes.
right?
Yes,
And
sir.
right, and so that happens, and that happened to Saquon last year, but he's paying the price this year, and Taylor paid the price the year after that, and then sort of had injuries sort of after that, and now here we are a third full season later, and he's gearing up for it again because his body's had time to heal. He did that 2,000-yard season while he was what, 24. So
Yeah,
like
he's 23, 22, something like
a
that.
lot of life in that engine still left, man.
Yes, sir. And that's actually makes up a great point, man. If we look at the lines and spreads, my man, going into week 12, man, that's an interesting matchup, namely the Colts versus the Chiefs, because
Yeah, it
the
is.
Chiefs surprisingly are favored by 3.5.
Yeah.
I think they're assuming that the Chiefs are going to be in desperation mode over unders 49.5. I think I take the Colts to cover this, man. I think it's going to be a good
Mhm.
game, but I think Colts ultimately take this. What are your thoughts, man?
Well, on that game, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got Indy on that because yeah, Indy's 8-2 for a reason. They're also six
Right.
three and one against the spread, right? KC is
Oh,
5-5, and they're five and
mhm.
five against the spread, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
KC is plus 73, and Indy's plus 115, right? So like, there's some legitimate data here that supports taking Indy as the underdog
Yeah,
on the road for sure against a
right.
desperate team. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure KC necessarily even wins this game. This might be the nail in their coffin for the season. Or if they do rally and win, I don't think it's going to be by more than 3 points. So
Yes,
it'll be
sir.
another one of these 1 or 2 point squeak 'em games, right? Which
Yes,
covers that
sir.
3 point spread. So I got Indy, yeah, for sure. And I'm taking the over on this one too. I think points will be scored.
Nice, nice. Which other games are you looking at? Like, let's say just do two games and then let's get to our top five. Two games that you really are circling in this week as we look at
Okay.
the lines and spreads, my man. Mhm.
New England at Cincinnati. They're favored by 7.5. I would have been comfortable with 10. New England's firing on all cylinders right now. They're 7-3-1 against the spread. I say
Okay.
take the over on the 50. Clearly, right? Because Cincinnati's
Yes.
3-7 straight up this season, and they're 3-7 against the spread, right? So like, they're just
Mhm.
sucky. So all the data indicates that no matter what the point spread, it's take New England. Another one, I'll go through a couple of these like right quick because I've got them there's
Sure.
no superfluous stuff here, but I think the Seattle game at Tennessee's 1-9, but they're weirdly 4-6 against the spread. So that's like flags going
Oh,
off, and Seattle's favored by 12. So I'm just like, yeah, you know how I feel about large spreads with an over under of 40 and a
yeah.
half. But here's my take on this, right?
Mm,
I take the under on this because Seattle may
yeah.
only score 40 points, right? I don't know if Tennessee has the ability to get on the scoreboard against this Seattle team. So I'm
Right.
taking them minus 12, right? On the road, minus 12. I'm going with Seattle on that one.
Nice.
The Indy one we just covered. A couple of these are more complex, but I like Pittsburgh. I genuinely like Pittsburgh to cover against
Mm,
Chicago. And
yes, can see that.
here's a funky one. Here's a funky one. New York
Yeah.
Giants are 2-9. They're brutal, but they're 6-5 against the spread. Weirdly, and they're
Oh,
going against Detroit, who are six and
right.
four, and only 6-4 against the spread. Also, and it's a 13-point spread. And I'm saying take the under on 50 and a
Yeah.
half and take the Giants to cover the 13. They'll probably lose by
Oh,
10,
snap.
right? They'll probably lose
Right,
by
that's a good
10,
point.
but that's
Right.
inside, right? So I just feel that's sort of an ATS data wonk in there, but I think that might pay off for people today. Um,
Nice.
the other one I have too, weirdly, is Cleveland is an underdog against Vegas. Cleveland's an underdog
Mm,
against Vegas, and the over is
weird.
36, right? Brutal game. But Cleveland's
Right.
4-6 against the spread. Vegas is also 4-6 against the spread, and they're both 2-8
Oh,
teams. So what's going
oh,
on here, right? How do you decide? So I just did the
right.
points, 4 points against, and Cleveland just runs a slightly tighter ship. I think that I would have been comfortable with anything under 5 points, right? So at 3.5, I say take Cleveland on the road.
Oh, nice, nice. Cleveland on the road. I like that, man, because definitely the Raiders will never disappoint. Well, not never disappoint. They'll find a way to disappoint. So if there's somehow favorite, I will go with Cleveland as well, bro. That's a
And
good
I'll
pick.
just do
Good
two
pick.
others quickly because I think that these are good games too.
Right.
Look for the Rams to cover easily against Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is a fraud. And we're going to find out just how much of a fraud against that defense. And take the under. Same reason as in the Tennessee game. Let me score
Mm.
all the points. Um, and the other one I really like is
Mm.
Carolina and San Francisco. Carolina is
Oh.
6-5 on the season. Surprisingly, I don't think anyone was expecting that. And they're
Right.
7-4 against the spread. They're great. And San
Oh.
Francisco, on the other hand, is 7-4, one game better straight up, but they're only 6-5 against the spread. So they're kind of like flipped, right? So I've
Right.
got Carolina, who is minus 42 on the season, right? So that means that they're losing their games by less than 5 points, basically, right? And San Francisco, on the other hand, is only +9. Right. So I'm kind of
Oh.
looking at this saying Carolina on the road +7 and the over. Yeah, give me Carolina in the Monday Nighter.
Yeah, that would be interesting, man. Carolina coming up 6-5, man. That's a
Bryce Young
interesting
is
matchup.
better on the road.
Yes, he is. That's a great. I didn't even observe that, but that's a great take by you, man. Let's find out what happens because we're gonna learn a lot about the Niners and especially
We are.
Carolina that
They're
game.
another fraud team. They're points, 4 points against, almost 500.
Man, and when we talk about points, 4 points against, man, that leads us to our top five teams going into week 12, man. This was hard for me to pick, Unc, and
I
I'm gonna
took
go
two
first.
cracks at it.
And man, it took me a while, man. But you know what? I'm gonna start off, man. Number five, I might shock you. I got the Eagles at number five, man. And the Eagles are low on my thing because they have not displayed good enough offense balance on both sides for me to put them higher. And that's why I have Seahawks at number four. Even after a loss, the Seahawks showed me that they still have the will and grit, and they were actually about to come back in that Rams game. So even in the loss, I still got the Seahawks number four. I got the Patriots
Rams made
number
them miss
three.
that field goal, right? Rams
Yes,
wouldn't let
they
them go
did.
any further, so they had to try it from 56 yards, and LA said, nope,
LA said nope, and that punt from the Rams, that pretty much settled the game because they punted
right?
the ball and
So
they
you're
got in
right.
like the 5 yard line, and Sam
You're
Darnold
right
had
about
to go up
Seattle.
the field
That was a
in like
quality
10
loss.
seconds.
That was absolutely a
Quality
quality
loss.
loss. Yep.
You can
Seattle blinked.
lose and still look nice, and that's how I looked at it. They lost, but they still look better than the Eagles in my eyes, and the Eagles won. You know what I mean? So in
Right.
my eyes, I got Seattle at number 4. Patriots, Pats, number 3. Man, very very great team. Looked amazing. Drake May looking so good. Very balanced team. Broncos number 2. You know, it's obvious, man. 8-game winning streak. Y'all know what time it is. And
Right.
Rams number 1. Yes, it might sound weird that I don't have the Colts in here. Ooh, that was tough for me, but because I was thinking about switching them with the Eagles. But hey, either or, those that was my honorable mention was the Colts, man. Unc, what are
Eagles
your
are a
top
way
five?
better team than Indy, man.
Yeah, yeah. That was my little debate because it was tough to pick. Unc, what are your top five, man?
Well, yeah, a lot of consternation over on this end. Oh my goodness, it's getting weirder and weirder every week. But because this is like an ever evolving sort of top five, it's always sort of based on the week before the cumulative record plus what they've been doing lately. We're starting
Right,
to see like, okay, who's greater than who, like who's beaten who, and all that stuff. So I did some of that this week,
right,
in addition to just the points for and points against as a sign of dominance.
right.
Okay. Number 5, I do have Indy. Indy's still hanging in there. 9-2 still is worth something. The points for, points against, but that loss last
Mm,
week really took a little of that bloom off the rose. That's for sure.
right,
Now they lost to the Rams and got exposed by the Steelers, as we indicated earlier.
right.
But Indy has also beaten the Broncos. Now it was only by 1 point, and it was at home, and it was like week 3, so that one's already fading. But they did do it.
Right.
Um, at number 4, I've got the Rams at 8-2
Mm,
with that magical points for, points against at 100, and only 172 points
100.
scored against. Like that's good, man. That's
Right.
a defense. The team is allowing less than 17 points a game. That's a recipe
Wow.
for win. But they
Right.
lost to Philly. Right now, the
Mm,
Eagles
cool.
are 8-2 also, with the kind of sus looking points for, points against, a plus
Yeah,
33.
bro.
But
Right.
and the Broncos beat the Eagles. So keep that in mind, ever so
Mm,
slightly, as we noted, right? But the
right.
Eagles also beat the Rams, right?
Yes, it is.
Right. And now, so that brings me to number 2, the New England Pats. 8-game winning
Mm,
streak, 9-2, but they've got fewer quality wins than some other teams. So
right.
that 9-2 speaks volumes. They're on an 8-game winning streak until somebody tells me otherwise. And they have a pretty healthy points for, points against. They win their games on average, according to the points for, points against, by about 8.5 points a week. Right. So that's not nothing. So
Mm,
that justifies their lofty perch. In fact, I had them at number 1 for a minute until I checked the
mm,
record of these Denver Broncos a little bit better. They
right.
actually win they have a points for, points against of plus 65, less than New
Mm,
England. But then I checked out their wins, how they've been winning, and their schedule, and it's better than the
mm,
Pats. So I have the
right.
Broncos at number 1 because they're 9-2, also on an 8-game winning streak, it should be noted. And the
Yes, they are.
Broncos have beaten the Eagles, right? And they lost by
Yes, they
1 point to Indy, but again, I'm kind of discounting that a little bit. But
are.
they beat the Eagles, right? So to me,
Yes, they did.
this is a top 5 that reflects like who's actually beating people and who are they beating and who in this list has been beaten and by whom, right? So
Yeah.
that's my top 5 for this week, man. That's how I'm looking at it.
Nice, nice, nice. And to just spare some time, we're gonna just skip over just the last few subjects. But I'm gonna say it like this: it's gonna be fun to see how these last few weeks go because there's been a narrative which I think might show out a little bit. The the New England Patriots have had an easier schedule than the
Hmm.
Broncos, and I'm telling you, the Broncos are looking really good. Let's see how they end the season, man, because hey man, the Patriots and the Broncos, man, who would have thought to start the season these would be our
Right?
top 2 teams on everyone's power ranking? Crazy, my man. You know what I mean?
There's only one other thing I wanted to add to this week's podcast that I found interesting from some of the football we've watched recently, and that was in that Philly Detroit game. Did you
Mm,
notice that the because we've talked about this over the course of about 3 seasons now when we discussed the tush push. And what did I
yeah,
say? Like, why are you talking about banning it, right? Like, it's kind of on the other defenses to figure out how to beat it, right? That's
yes,
part of
sir.
the evolution of the game. It's an ancient NFL play that goes back to the origins of the game. I just cannot believe that you're being snooty and arrogant about it, right? I say keep the tush push and figure out
Yeah,
how to
me
get
too.
rid of it, right? Get rid of it by
Correct,
beating it and defeating it, right? It faded from
correct.
the game once before. Let's do it again. And in that game, we saw Detroit put in their jumbo packages that were
Yeah,
actually like nullifying the effectiveness. The because I mean the tush push has been automatic to this point. Detroit showed
correct.
how to defense it a little bit. Yeah,
And actually, a few teams have stopped the tush push. It's hard to stop, but it's possible. It's just
yeah,
my issue is how they ref it. So many false starts, and the refs are letting it happen, man. They're letting them
right,
take the jump. That's
right,
the issue. But guess what? You can fight it. You can go against it, and it's not always as automatic as you think. Especially with the Philly O line getting hurt, because they are the reason
right.
for goals, bro.
And
So
and
it's gonna be
Detroit,
interesting to
right?
watch. Right.
I heard a fascinating analysis about Detroit's D, and this is why I think they'll ultimately prevail. Is that with all the funky 3-4 alignments and whatnot, like Detroit goes jumbo and they go 4-3, right? Like they're putting it out all on
Mm,
the line, saying we're coming, right?
yes,
We
sir.
got size and force, and we're coming, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a real challenge, especially with the tush push too, because these guys like Aiden Hutchinson, them like they were getting low, like almost parallel
Yes,
to the
they
ground,
were.
low with all that force
Mm.
and power, and pushing back on the tush push.
I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be fun to watch how this ends for the Detroit Lions,
Yeah,
how
man.
it ends for the
Yeah,
Eagles, man. These are two powerhouse teams.
I
Hey, man,
can't wait.
sometimes winning ugly is still winning. You know what I mean? And Philly is showing us just that.
Hmm.
Unc, been a great show, man. I'm so happy we back, my man. It's been
Yes,
talking
I
to you. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, watching on the replay. Make sure you like on y'all way out, man. Any last
please.
words for the people, bro? Yes, sir.
Man, no, just go out there, be safe, enjoy the games, and one love to everybody. Y'all just respect, appreciate that y'all tune in, and we'll catch y'all next week. Enjoy your football.
Yes, sir. Catch y'all next week and we out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.